All right, what if I told you that you could reach financial freedom, not in 40 years, but in just 5? I know, it sounds totally made up, right? But this is a real story, and it gives us this incredible blueprint for anyone out there who wants to completely flip their financial life on its head. So let's dive in and see how it was done. And it all starts right here, with this one single number, $2.26. Now, that's not just some random amount, no way. This was rock bottom, and it's the number that kicked off an absolute revolution. So, this is Grant Sabatier. Picture this. He's 24 years old, unemployed, and ends up moving back in with his parents. And in his bank account, that $2.26, barely enough to buy a candy bar. I mean, it's that moment of pure financial panic that, let's be honest, a lot of us can unfortunately relate to. But here's the thing. What could have been the end of the story for him? Well, it actually turned into this super powerful catalyst for change. That $2 and change wasn't just a number on a screen. It was a massive, blaring wake-up call. You see, Grant was feeling something that so many people, especially in his generation, were feeling. Just total disillusionment. You know the drill, right? Go to school, work hard, live paycheck to paycheck, get swamped with debt. The whole traditional path just wasn't adding up. That promise of success, yeah, it felt like a total lie. And so, right there, in that moment of desperation, he decided to do something radical. He completely rejected the whole 40-year 9-to-5 slog, and instead, he set this new goal for himself that was, well, it was almost laughably ambitious. Okay, so get this. Starting from that low point, with literally just over $2 to his name, he set two gigantic goals. First, save $1 million. And second, retire. Get that freedom as fast as humanly possible.
And the results? I mean, it is just staggering. In only 5 years, he went from $2.26 to a net worth of over $1.25 million. Just wow. And that incredible journey is exactly why his blueprint is so powerful and worth looking at.
But okay, to actually pull this off, he had to make this absolutely crucial shift in his mindset. And this is really the core of his whole strategy. He figured out that just chasing money for the sake of having more money, that was completely missing the point. And here's the big aha moment. He realized that time, not money, is our most valuable, most limited asset. It's the one thing we can never get back. So the real goal isn't just to pile up cash or buy more stuff. Nope. The goal is to use money as a tool to buy back your own time, to get freedom and control over how you live your life. And this right here really lays out the two different worlds, doesn't it? You've got the old path. You work for 40 plus years, maybe squirrel away 10% if you're lucky. But then there's this new path. Make as much money as you possibly can right now, and then save and invest like your life depends on it. We're talking aggressively, like 50% or even more. The whole point is to just slice decades off that old retirement timeline. So all of this brings us to the real meat of his strategy. He calls it the 7-step freedom path. And this is the actionable blueprint that makes the whole thing tick. All right, so you're probably wondering, what's the actual blueprint? What are the steps that took him from totally broke to a millionaire in just 5 years? Okay, let's break it down. Okay, so his whole blueprint really boils down to these 7 key steps. First step, you've got to know your destination. You need to figure out your number. That's the amount of money you need to be financially free. Next, you need to know where you're starting from, right? So step 2 is to calculate your net worth today. Step 3 is that big mindset shift we've been talking about, really starting to see money as a tool for freedom. Then you get to steps 4, 5, and 6. Think of these as the engine of your car. This is where you radically crank up your savings rate, you figure out how to squeeze more money out of your day job, and you start a profitable side hustle. And finally, step 7 is the accelerator pedal. You invest early and you invest often. You just pour as much as you can into investments and let the magic of compounding do all the heavy lifting for you. Now, I want to zoom in on one of these steps that sounds, well, kind of crazy, and that's to stop budgeting. Seriously, instead of stressing out about every single latte, he says you should focus on the big wins. So here's how it works. You decide on a really aggressive savings goal. Let's say 25%, 40%, whatever you can manage, and you automate it. You set it up so that money gets zapped straight from your paycheck into your investment accounts before you even see it. You pay yourself first. And then whatever's left over, that's yours to spend totally guilt-free. You know, one of the most powerful ideas in all of this is that financial freedom isn't this one giant, far-off destination that feels impossible to reach. It's not all or nothing. It's actually a journey, like climbing a ladder, made up of these clear, totally achievable steps along the way. And this chart here just lays out that path perfectly. Look, you start at level 1, which is just clarity. That just means you actually know what your financial situation is. Then you climb to self-sufficiency, then breathing room, where you're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. Then you hit stability. That's when you've got at least 6 months of expenses saved up. Level 5 is flexibility. Imagine having enough saved to take a whole year off work. Then you get to the big one, financial independence. This is where your investments are literally paying your living expenses forever. And finally, there's abundant wealth. When you see it broken down like this, doesn't it make the whole thing feel so much more possible? And so we really end on this question, the whole point of this entire journey. The reason to save so hard and invest so aggressively, it all comes down to reclaiming your time. Because that's the one thing you can never, ever make more of. So the real question isn't just about the money. The real question is, what would you do with that freedom? If you got all that time back, what would you do with it?